Unit 1, Exercise 5, Enter taxes. Task 1, Alternative 1, Entry of an invoice with several tax rates using the Create Supplier Invoice app. You receive an invoice containing several tax rates. Before you enter the invoice, check some data in the purchase order. Display the purchase order and check whether a tax code is defined for each item. Manage purchase order. In the items, we can see here that we have 3 items and the tax code is here. We can also see it in the item in the tax tab here, tax code. Good. You have received the following invoice. Enter the invoice with the Create Supplier Invoice app. If necessary, correct the tax code of the item according to the specification in the invoice. Good. And after that, check the invoice and verify that the proposed tax amount match the value from the invoice. Create supplier invoice, which is here, the date, amount and reference, purchase order. We will see for these messages. Here we can see that we have the 3 items and the tax code is 10% for each of them. And the invoice said the item 10 and 30 are for 10% and the item 20 is for 5%. So we are going to change this information to 5%. The balance is now okay, and we can check in the tax tab. Here we have 2 taxes, 10 and 5%. Simulate the posting that takes place and fill in the table after this post the invoice. Okay, simulate. So we have here the supplier account, the 3 items, and the tax, 10% and 5%. We have 2 lines. And in the item, we can see here the tax code, 10, 20, 30. And this is the tax code for the 20. So we can post this one. And no. Task 2, Alternative 2, enter an invoice with several tax rates using the Create Supplier Invoice Advanced app. You receive an invoice containing several tax rates. Enter the invoice using Create Supplier Invoice Advanced or the MIRO. This is the invoice. Create Supplier Invoice Advanced. The date, amount, reference, purchasing document. Okay. Enter the header, data, and the purchase order number. verify the item that the system proposed on the item list. Did the system propose tax code for the invoice? The answer is yes. Here we have 10%. Display the PO where tax code defined for each item. So if we go to the PO, here we have in the invoice, we are already here. In the invoice tab, we should have the tax code, but no information in the purchase order for the 3 items. Okay. If required, correct the tax rate on the item list, simulate the posting that takes place, and fill in the table. After this, post the invoice. Good. So, back to the invoice. And we are going to change, for the second item, the tax is for 5%. So here, 5%. And in the tax tab, in the header, we are going to put 100%, 100 euro here and 50 as in the invoice. Now the balance is okay. We can simulate here. And we have the information. This is the supplier account, the good receipt, item 10, item 20, and also for the taxes. And here we have the tax code. For the post 20, we have 5%. So we can post this one also. Invoice document was posted and blocked for payment. Good. Task 3. Control customizing settings for tax code. Okay. Perform this task in the backend. Display the customizing for default value of the tax code for company 1010. Do not change the settings. So in the customizing, material management, logistic invoice verification, incoming invoice, default value for the tax code, I think it's this one. Okay, company 1010. And here we see the tax default invoice verification. For the company 1010, we have 10%. That explained why in the previous exercise we did find the 10% in the invoice, but not in the purchase order, I think. Okay, I will not change this one. Do not exit the customizing after this step. Open the customizing for financial accounting for invoice and credit memo entry with enjoy transaction. Let's see if we can find this one. Financial accounting. Account receivable and account payable. Business transaction. Incoming invoice credit memo. In credit invoice credit memo enjoy. And in here, transaction, define tax code per transaction. The country is this one. And here we see that we have this one selected, financial accounting invoice receipt, and this one, financial accounting outgoing invoice. Okay, they are selected. I will not change these parameters. Display the activity. And here is a question: what will be the effect in the application if you delete the entry for one tax code and the invoice verification transaction from the list? For example, tax code V2 in the country DE. If I delete the V2 for the country DE, the V2 will no longer appear in the logistic invoice verification. Voila.